welcome to a recap of The Amazing Race. So, last week they were in Indonesia, and in Indonesia they will stay. They had to go to this, insert hard name of a restaurant here, and the twins in Texas were working together. But wait, so were the Chippies. Oh, add on Abby and Dan. The first four were all working together in one pack. It was kind of weird. But effective. So it's roadblock time. You have to serve up to 20 plates. Well, you have to serve 20 plates. It wasn't up to, it was 20 plates of food all at once. And not just any food, Padang food. So Chippy and Ryan got it right away because, well, Chippy was a waiter and Ryan just lucked out, I suppose. There was a couple of food dumps, but you know what? Nothing as bad as it was gonna, that you thought it was gonna be, because 20 plates of food, when you stack them up, really wasn't that much. So, next stop is Surabaya train station. And they had to get on a train to Benguil, and they had to keep their eyes open for the next clue, because they weren't gonna get it till they were actually on the train. So the twins, unfortunately, missed the first train by like minutes. And the next train was over 3 hours later, so that really sucked. So they got on the second train. There was only 2 trains. The first 5, I think, were on the first train, and then the rest of them were on the second train. So the Chippies, Texas, the dating divorcees, and the gays all made a pact. What's wrong with me tonight? Probably because I don't feel well. Sorry guys, I have like the beginnings of a head cold, so if you see any snot rockets, I apologize. Alright, so they all made a deal that they were not going to use the U-turn. The rockers were also on the train, but they kind of are wanting to be on their own, so they weren't like in the gang mentality. So they didn't really have much to do with anybody else on the train. So it's a detour. And when they got off the train, the Chippies barely fit into the little carts that they had to take. I think they were calling them Ducats. I don't know for sure. Gary and Will didn't know what a Ducat was, so that kind of set them back a little bit when they were trying to figure out exactly what that was. So the detour was either Lion's Head or Egghead. And in Lion's Head, they had to dress up in these lion carnival-ish type costumes and parade around and do a dance a few times. But in Egghead, you had to go and get 2 eggs each, have a guy cut a coconut in half, stick a sterno can in it, put it on your head and cook the eggs, and then you had to eat them with a ton of hot sauce on it. So the only people that willingly took the eggs was Josh and Brent. And let me just say, the lion head thing was pretty gross, because you actually had to put that thing in your mouth, the headpiece, and I don't think they washed it. And it weighed, did I say that it weighed like 40 to 50 pounds? That's crazy. I would have had such a neck ache after that, but you know what? $1 million would have made me feel so much better. Oh, $1 million. Alright, so it's time for the double U-turn. But it's a scary double U-turn because it's anonymous. You don't know who U-turned you, which means you don't really know who's behind you. So, or ahead of you for that matter. So the monster truckers were the only ones, well, they were the first ones who used the U-turn. And they U-turned Gary and Will because they didn't want to have any trouble, and they were pretty sure that Gary and Will were behind them. Gary and Will didn't know who was behind them at all. So they took a chance. They knew it was either Rob and Kelly or the Blondes. So they ended up U-turning Rob and Kelly, which didn't really matter because Rob and Kelly were in front of them. So the pit stop was at the #1 school in Benguil. First place, Abby and Ryan. They went a trip for 2 to Fiji. Awesome. I wish I was one of the 2. Alright, Trey and Lexi came in 2nd, James and James came in 3rd, Abba and James came in 4th, Josh and Brent in 5th, Natalie and Nadia in 6th, Rob and Kelly in 7th. It came down to a fight for the last slot between Gary and Will and the Blondes, Caitlin and Brittany. Now, Caitlin and Brittany were having some trouble finding the U-turn mat. So all in that time, Gary and Will made up their U-turn, and then they were basically in a foot race, well, in a Ducat race to the end. And Caitlin and Brittany's Ducat snuck up on Gary and Will's and actually passed them. But they went and turned the wrong way after that. So Gary and Will were able to sneak in there, and Caitlin and Brittany were unfortunately eliminated. They had a little setback earlier too when they were arguing with the Ducat guy over how much the ride actually costs, and I think they lost about 15 minutes. So that sucks for them. So unfortunately, it was an elimination leg, and they were eliminated. And next week, oh, more crazy. They're going to Bangladesh. That place is insane. Is it just me this season, or are the Americans a little ugly? Robin Kelly. Sorry, did I say that out loud? They seem a little ugly American. I'm sorry. It's a little embarrassing. All right, till next week. Much love.